I'm going to share something with you that I've never shown anyone else. My resignation letter from Johnson & Johnson. After a decade of faithful service to J&J that took my family through 12 relocations in 1 year, my international assignment in Japan was cut short. We had just had our fourth child in Tokyo and were faced with the impossible decision to continue life in Japan on our own or take a US return path to a new city with no support network. This letter was one of the most powerful things I've ever written, even if few within J&J actually read it. So hey, Pretentious Engineer here. I know you didn't ask, but I help engineers, global leaders, and entrepreneurs find their way. The journey of an engineer is often disorienting, undefined, and isolating, and I've made it my personal mission to provide greater clarity, a bounded career path, and community to folks like myself hoping to secure their next best opportunity. Many folks get stuck in jobs that don't have their best interests in mind, and my flagship course, How to Say Goodbye, will empower you to craft your own strategic exit, targeting an opportunity at 30% pay increase, living wherever you desire, and loving what you do. I genuinely believe this is possible for you, and my community on Skool is here to support you in your journey. Many colleagues of mine struggled to discern how my wife and I were able to navigate various immigration, housing, financial, and employment risks during our strategic exit from Johnson & Johnson. So I decided to synthesize everything we've learned so you can progress out of that job that's killing you inside. And if I can do it, so can you. This course is broken into 3 major movements. The first of which is inertia, which illuminates all the constraining forces that keep you in a job that doesn't have your best interests in mind, limiting your future possibilities. The second movement, impact, acknowledges an internal choice to break through these inertial forces in pursuit of securing your next. And the final movement, momentum, which we begin today, contains the secret sauce of how I exited J&J with my 2 greatest assets intact, my integrity and my network. I'm committed to helping you exit with both, so your reputation will prosper, leading to downstream opportunities. So, why should you write a resignation letter? Well, let's find out together. Ikimashou, let's go. A resignation letter is simply an external proclamation of an internal reality. It's a means for us to put words to the pain and frustration we've experienced in an organization so we can move forward without that chip on our shoulder. It's likely that no one will ever read this letter. They already know that you're leaving if you've told them face to face, and their new priority is backfilling your replaceable role, not empathizing with your experience. This is our 7th module together, and we're going to go deep. It's vulnerable, it's uncomfortable, so I'm going to share from my end as openly as possible so you'll feel more supported sharing your own letter within our community on Skool. Everyone is here to support you on your journey, and while you may never experience validation from the leaders who burned you in your present role, I promise you will be seen within the Big Brain Club. I see you, and I know how hard it's been for you to make this decision to exit. But I trust you and your family will see better days on the other side of this letter. So 3 big steps for today. Number 1, I'll walk you through a 7-step resignation letter framework that will empower you to build momentum in your strategic exit. Number 2, we'll work through my resignation letter from J&J and explore where I employed the 7 steps. And number 3, we're going to go deep in our praxis section, working into those wounded spaces, clearing out the years of corporate uck so you can heal and move forward well. So let me grab my tablet and let's get to work. Okay, I got my tablet. Let's get to work. Let me just check that writing works. Yep, it's blue. Let me erase it. So we're going to go through 7 steps to building momentum through this resignation letter. And the first of which is an exercise I like to call deep processing. This is something I picked up in my master's in global leadership. And it's this idea that often our emotional disposition sits at the surface. There's a whole bunch of junk under the surface that's informing our actions and our feelings, but we can't often recognize it. And it normally takes some kind of exercise of what we call deep processing to start to uncover that. So for some individuals, this looks like journaling. For me, it means running long distance. Like I put a GoPro in my head, I go and run and talk about life and record it and share that with my community. But that exercise of like verbally vomiting as I run and do something hard, it helps me put words to the experiences that I'm having so that I have a greater sense of understanding. So there's likely something you experience in your career that you haven't fully processed, but it's impacting your perspectives and your feelings and your attitudes towards your home life and your work life. So that's the first step. Is a resignation letter will enable you to do some deep processing, and it's kind of a give and take, especially if you revisit it over time. All right, the next part. Number 2, heart or feeling. As an extension of deep processing, putting it in words on paper and facing it and reading it out loud and rewriting it and reading it out loud, it's going to help you feel in your heart the choice you've made to leave and to acknowledge and capture some of the pain. And you're going to see a lot of pain in my letter because I thought it was important to capture that just in honesty so that these senior leaders could understand what they did to me and my family. It's not out of spite, it's so they can lead others differently when the same situation occurs. So that's the first part, is feeling. But the other part, which you will definitely see in my letter, is the brain. Did I spell brain right? Brain, which is the logic side. You actually need to go through and document, or at least the way I do it. Sorry, my eye's a little itchy. You need to document like dates and certain actual things that happen. Because if you write a letter that's pure feeling and give it to someone, no one's going to be able to receive that. But when you show them a sequence of this is what occurred on this date, and this is what occurred on this date, and this is what I felt, and then this occurred, and this is what I felt, and this built towards this decision. When you have the brain and the logic side of it, it provides them with greater clarity and feedback so they can lead better when others come into their organization. But it also provides you kind of a clearer view of your full experience so that you could see, oh man, these things stacked up towards a decision. And that should actually give you a sense of power of like, I'm making the right decision to exit. And you're exiting either without a job or you've moved into another job already. You're just giving them the letter. Okay. Now this was a huge one for me. And maybe this comes a little bit out of shogunai, which we'll unpack. That's a Japanese expression. Acknowledge. Why do I always use big words? Circumstance. My life and my family's life was heavily impacted by organizational restructures in Japan, which were completely out of my control. They were also out of the control of the senior VP leaders that told me, hey, you have a job in New Jersey now, not Japan. And for me to be like, hey, that's not going to work for my family. An acknowledgement of circumstance restores dignity to yourself for what you've experienced, but also to the other across the table that you're writing to. Business changes priorities, and people are part of those changes. And sometimes the changes don't work well. So in Japanese, there's an expression called shogunai, which is, it literally means like it is what it is. It's this idea that some things can't be helped and you just have to endure and muscle through them. It comes a little bit out of like nihilism. Just Japan was always an island afflicted from natural disaster, and like stuff happens that's terrible. And it's kind of baked into culture, even in Japanese corporate settings today, which is really interesting. So with your situation, there are probably experiences that happen that aren't anyone's fault. It's just what it is. It is what it is. So as you go through the letter, acknowledging those circumstances will also give you peace because we're not in control of everything. But we are in control of our exit and choosing our next, right? So that'll be another piece. Something I navigated, though, that was huge beyond acknowledging circumstance was organizational indifference. When we go through my letter, I lay out all the actions I took to provide value to Johnson & Johnson and provide stability to my family by staying in Japan. And I was hit by a wall of indifference within the organization. A lot of thoughts and prayers, but no action. Nobody actively found a way to just fix the problem and make it work so that I could continue to do great things in the region. You have likely experienced this in some way, whether you got passed up for different opportunities, you were moved laterally like I was without advancement in an equitable fashion. The organization was indifferent to what your true financial needs were, and it's time for you to move towards something else that pays you better for what you're capable of, right? So finding those organizational indifferences, that is something people were responsible for and capable of changing and chose not to. So capturing a blend of 4 and 5 is going to be really important for providing feedback to leadership, but also providing feedback to yourself. Let me just double check. Everything's good. I had a little glitch on my screen. Yeah, we're still recording. Keep rolling. All right. The next one. And this is where I'm trying to work you towards kind of the outcomes of this letter. It will be 6 and 7. This is why we're doing this. It's not 1 through 5. Recognize intrinsic value. Every time I applied to a job in J&J and set up calls with different senior leaders and explained my situation and explained my career history and how I really believed I could provide value in a given role and stay in the region, or all the different accommodations I was willing to make in order to stay with J&J for pay cuts and all kinds of things that we'll get to in the letter, all of those destroyed my sense of intrinsic value. They made me feel smaller and smaller, less qualified. And as soon as I exited J&J and started having conversations in the Tokyo startup ecosystem or with other business leaders, entrepreneurs, people that were very successful, I immediately realized, like, wow, I am incredibly valuable. Like, I'm incredibly valuable in this world. And there's a lot I can do and build and shape. But that whole experience made me feel smaller and smaller and smaller, and I had to find a way to rebuild this sense of intrinsic value. So my hope is this deep processing exercise with the resume, and particularly sharing it on the community page within Skool. Like, I'm hoping that whole exercise of having like 5, 10, eventually when our community grows, like 50 people piling on it in the comments and be like, this is incredible. And I really think you could probably operate at this level. Like, you're going to do so well at what you move towards next. Like, that kind of feedback restores dignity, which is a value within our community. Because often corporate America, but corporations in general, don't create a sense of intrinsic value in people. They commoditize people as a means of labor, right? It's capitalism. So how do we still have a sense of purposefulness in the way we work and view ourselves? Ooh, got a little teary on that one. That's a good one. All right, recognize intrinsic value. All right, number 7. Ooh, baby just woke up, so we'll do this one fast. With or without, with or without me energy. All right, we'll see if he goes back to bed. I'll let him whimper for a tiny bit. I don't know if you could hear the baby on the side. So with or without me energy, I'm going to pick him up. Stay right here and then we'll talk about it. But with or without me energy, I got this from Daniel Priestley. Writes a great book, Keep Person of Interest. Highly suggest you read it because it's a lot of my working frameworks for using virtual portfolios in order to secure new opportunities or getting on a podcast or things like that. It comes out of a lot of his methodology on how to actually become like seen as a key person of interest within your industry so you can secure better opportunities at a better pay. Like, a lot of my working model comes from him. But with or without me energy is this idea that, let's say you're trying to sell someone, well, they approached you and were like, I'm really interested in some brand management. I hear you do a lot of brand management work. It'd be really great to work with you. And then you start talking about price and they try to lowball you on price. With or without me energy is like, well, hey, this is the price that I set. This is the value I believe I bring. No worries. Like, we can either like prune the scope of work so that I can provide value within your budget, or you can find someone else at that level. Like, I suggest these other people do this kind of work. But if this is a priority within your business, like, this is what I can deliver. And like, you get that value exchange. So with or without me energy is like, with or without me, like, I'm going to keep doing my thing. You can come along in that or not. Like, you're still giving them full choice. When you write a resignation letter, there's, as we're kind of adding to our sense of intrinsic value, you're telling the organization, like, I'm going to go on and do my own thing without you. I don't need you anymore. I've gotten a lot out of you. I've served you over the last couple of years, but now this is my time to go and do this thing. So I'm hoping you can carry that attitude and disposition into future interviews and into future companies, that if it's not a fit and you do your ikigai in 2 or 3 years, you just jump to the next one and you keep moving and climbing and learning and growing and doing what you love because you have this sense of value Whereas if things shift in a way that doesn't show you respect, you learn how to move yourself to something else that's bigger and better. So that's the 7 steps. I'm going to let him explore, and we're going to jump down to my resignation letter. So I'll see you in a minute. All right. So let's work into this resignation letter line by line. I'm just going to narrate it and pause and talk through the 7 steps as we do it. And it should be, I was going to say, it should be fun. Meanwhile, all 3 of my kids are trampling upstairs, so we'll see how long I can make this work. Father of 4. It's a hoot. All right. So Joey Sasaki put a date on it. It's important. This is what I call the contingent resignation letter for my strategic exit. We'll get into why it's contingent in a minute. So it's effective June 30th, 2024, which is when I exited Johnson & Johnson. And I wanted to provide some context before we jump in. So on May, you'll see the dates. This is when we talked about the brain side of things. And it's also, I considered it a legal document. So I wanted to make sure I tracked the decision fully. So that way Johnson & Johnson didn't come after me legally for any kind of like trying to make me repay relocation fees to Japan or housing or anything like that. I wanted to help capture it all on paper so that it showed my engagement with the company and their contract with me concerning the credo, which I approached as a contract, which I think they breached. Okay. It's a whole nother conversation. All right. So on May 13th, I met with Blank from HR and Blank from Ethicon R&D senior leadership to share my decision of a contingent resignation. My family had navigated 12 relocations in 1 year to move to Japan on behalf of Johnson & Johnson. These relocations occurred between April 2021 and April 2022, and my family incurred substantial financial and emotional hardship from these transitions. Incredibly true statement. The trauma is still real. My international assignment was set to end June 30th, 2024, and I made every good faith effort to secure a continuation of the assignment. A layer of nuance I would add here, and originally I was told it could be 2 to 3 years, so they truncated it, or it felt like it was cut short to the line based on factors. I made every good faith effort to secure a continuation of the assignment or an alternative J&J role in Japan to provide stability for my family. My 4th son, Akio, was born February 2024, and during parental leave, I applied to over 20 J&J jobs, the majority based in Japan. One role, oh my God, can't believe I have to relive this. Okay, this is a show. One role that was promising was a Director of Business Development Japan, where I would report into APAC Business Development. I had 4 preliminary interviews for this role, and then an alternative posting of Business Manager Dev Japan was opened on the same team which the hiring manager funneled me to. They basically looked at the role and they put the same responsibilities but nerfed it from a director to a senior manager role. I still disagree with that decision, but let's keep going. And they opened it telling me that they'd have to interview for it, but there's a high probability I would get it. While this role was a promotion and responsibility, it was localized. This meant that I would lose subsidized housing for my family. They're covering around $10,000 a month of rent in Tokyo. International schooling reimbursement for my children, which was $18,000 per child. We had 3 in school at the time. And tax immigration support. I have no idea how much that costs. I'm about to find out when I do taxes this year because I need help. The salary was localized as well, so I was projected to experience a 40 to 50% reduction in base salary. And to provide some context, we were like line to line or paycheck to paycheck in Japan with these benefits. So it was still economic disaster and not sustainable. It was just a bridge into life in Japan at risk. I believed that I was well qualified for the role and that it would provide my family with continuity of our life in Japan. Based on challenging lead times between the target repatriation, June 30th, and delays in the manager business dev Japan role being posted, they kept putting it back week by week, getting it closer and closer to when I was supposed to make a decision. I was put in a vulnerable decision of trusting J&J to provide an opportunity in Japan or asking my family to navigate a 13th relocation to a new state, New Jersey, with no support network. On May 13th, I made the decision to submit a contingent resignation, trusting that the manager business development role would work out. This was a crazy day. It was so vulnerable, so emotional. And I went into the call with this VP knowing that it was just a day of business for them and they were going to move on to the next thing. And for me, this was like a life shattering, shaking, galvanizing decision. And I went into the call knowing like they're not going to care, but it's everything to me. Like that's where a lot of the motivation for the fifth module, or the fourth module of like everyone's replaceable, but your life is not. I felt that so much on the day that I told them I'm putting in this contingent resignation because I knew there's huge risk in that decision. So on May 13th, I made the decision to submit a contingent resignation, trusting that the manager business development Japan role would work out, which I genuinely thought it would. I was overqualified from a leadership perspective, well connected with the team, and had already had 4 preliminary interviews with the hiring manager team. In the event I did not receive the role, I would exit from J&J and not repatriate back to the US because this VP was a US VP. So they needed to know, hey, do we need to pay to get you back to the US or not? But I was caught in the middle of these two orgs, Japanese commercial and upstream R&D. On June 6th, I had a panel interview with 3 members of the local Japan business development team, 2 of which I had worked with extensively in my prior role. One of which was an executive sponsor for my prior role in Japan. Like they literally were the one that interviewed me to bring me out to progress innovation from Japan for 3.5 years. They were my corporate sponsor. I felt the conversation went well and that I was well positioned to add value to the team, building on my prior work as innovation lead Japan, where I directed innovation. On June 10th, so 4 days later, I had a follow-up meeting with the APAC hiring manager to inform me I did not receive the role, which is wild. While I respect the team's decision, this was so tactfully written at the time. I had a lot of anger and things to navigate. I legitimately didn't think my career at J&J was going to end based on how the interview went. While I respect the team's decision, I'm disappointed by their judgment and genuinely surprised, which is a very kind word, of how things turned out. I've dedicated a decade of my life to MedTech innovation through Johnson & Johnson, 3 years of it on innovation from Japan, also navigating all the relocations with my family. I've been loyal to J&J, even pursuing a role that came with no expat benefits and a massive pay cut for an increase in responsibility. HR, this is where we start to get into this sense of intrinsic value. I mean, it's already starting with the sacrifices I was willing to make, but this is why I felt I needed to write this letter. HR has used the term voluntary resignation to describe the nature of my exit. I do not agree with this nomenclature and don't consent to said language being used in my Workday submission. The only way I can exit the company is in Workday. I have to click a box, and it was either laid off, or I forgot the term they used for that, or voluntary resignation. And it's a legal protection where I'm voluntarily resigning from my role, so I'm not entitled to any kind of severance. So I didn't get 3 to 6 months in this. It was my choice to leave at risk, even though to me it was contingent. So that protects J&J. So that's why I wrote this. So I have made every good faith effort to provide J&J with value in Japan while still sustaining Akio's playing with paper, while still sustaining my family. There is nothing voluntary about the choices I have had to make. I prefer the term contingent, as my family and I were burdened by J&J's inability to live out its Kratos values, screwing up lead times, not accommodating and finding a role or shuffling. Like other leaders could have got it done, and the ones I had didn't. I have striked through every aspect of the Credo that fell short for me and my family over the past year. So the J&J has this Credo values. In short, there's 4 main paragraphs. This is just the top one. The first one talks about our responsibility to like the patients. The second one, actually, this is the second one, talks about the responsibilities to the employees, where I think they fell short on this value. The third is responsibility to like, what is it? I think it's the environment, like the taking care of stewarding the world that we live in. And then the fourth is the shareholders. If you do the first 3 right as a good company, the fourth, shareholders get a return on investment. A little bit of J&J lore for you. So this is like in every corporate thing, like everyone knows this. For me, I thought it was important to mark out where they failed. So we're responsible to our employees who work with us throughout the world. We provide an inclusive environment where each person must be considered an individual. We must respect their dignity and recognize their merit. I felt they failed on that. They must have a sense of security. We did not have a sense of security for the 2.5 years we lived in Japan, based on everything that was shuffling on the US side. We could see the deal falling through between US R&D and Japan commercial. Fulfillment and purpose in their jobs. Compensation must be fair and adequate. I moved laterally so many times, was doing a director level role paid as a senior engineer in Japan. Working conditions clean, orderly, and safe. We must support the health and well-being of our employees and help them fulfill their family and other personal responsibilities, which they failed to do. We navigated incredible sacrifice on stability and comfort and mental well-being. Our kids are still different because of it. We're more resilient as a family because of it. That's the gratitude side of the equation. But in reality, like, it was very damaging. We're still damaged. We still don't know when Japan or anything international is a choice again for us, just based on what our kids need in this next season. Employees must feel free to make suggestions and complaints. There must be equal opportunity for employment, deployment, and advances for those qualified. We must provide highly capable leaders, and their actions must be just and ethical. I talked with so many senior leaders that gave me thoughts and prayers and were completely, like, the organization was indifferent to what was going on. The lack of ability of a leader to make something work because of like ones and zeros in accounting and other things, like, there's no capability in that org, at least on this matter, because their focus and their constraints had them focused on other things. So that's my experience. And writing that, crossing that down, really helped reinforce. If we go back to Remarkable really quick. Oops, where is it? Oh, we lost our tablet. It's fine. But it instilled this sense of intrinsic value. It helped me find a with or without me energy of like, all right, well, you all keep doing your thing. I'm going to go find an organization where I can lead and be capable, because I haven't seen that capability on behalf of my family. If I start a business, which I ended up starting a business in Tokyo, like, one of the first conversations I want to have with anyone I hire is read this letter with them and be like, you should never have to write a letter like that to me. Like, this will never happen to people in my organization. Like, it was that galvanizing for me. So as June 30th approaches, which was 10 days out, it is my family that has borne all risks associated with J&J's Japan innovation agenda. We have been displaced, schooling disrupted, financially burdened, emotionally destabilized, and left to voluntarily find a way to make expat life in Japan work beyond J&J. It's a disappointment, and I expected better. Best regards, Joey Sasaki. So that's a resignation letter. It was one of the most powerful things I ever put on paper. I submitted it, never got any feedback on it. I'm sure most people didn't read it. Maybe someone did. Not sure what it changed or not. But it was an exercise for me. It was a never again kind of experience. So let's jump back on our tablet. Let me see if I can get this all set up. We're going to do some fun little, this is how I record. Welcome to the OBS immersion. Let me change my camera screen. We want the left monitor. No, we want this one. And then that's not going to work because I have to fix this. Stop sharing. Close that. All the fun buttons. It'll be worth it. But let's do our praxis. Connect to app. Accept. Was that vulnerable? Was that open? Was that honest? Was it too much? Was it not enough? Some of y'all are like, dude, you keep it together way more than I would. It's the Lord. All right. Let's get this done. I really hope that this helps you. I really, really hope that this just gives you a sense of dignity and power. That's the whole reason I built this community on Skool is I want people to feel seen and respected. Whew. All right, praxis. Let's get to work. So 3 questions. You're going to post these in the community. I would say as a 4th, like, attach your resignation letter. If you write one after this module, like, that's your homework. So number 1, and these are long because they're always long. What limiting aspect, or what limiting aspects of your organization have clouded your sense of intrinsic value? Is it the Hunger Games, Lord of the Flies kind of dynamics that happen during year end where people are being bumped up and bumped down, promoted and not promoted, given the right bonuses or not? Like, there's so many aspects of capitalistic business that commoditize people and make them feel small. And something has happened to you, a conversation with someone, a lack of opportunity, a boundary that has made you feel that way. Or at least I highly believe that's probable. Yeah. There's some outlier here, right? Who's got it all put together, has had a peachy career, and they're still watching this, so they know what to look out for. Good for you, friend. All right. But what aspect of your organization has clouded your sense of intrinsic value? Because bring that into your letter so that you can move past it. Because if you're going to start having interviews for roles that are 2 or 3 levels higher, living where you want, higher pay rate, like if you're actually going to go after that and start positioning your resume or your virtual portfolio in that direction, you have to move past the experiences that made you small and know exactly who you are and what you are capable of so that you're confident, because we hire people that are confident that we like. So that's the first thing. Number 2, have you written the letter, knowing that no one will read it? And when I say no one will read it, sure, you submit it and your manager reads it. But are they reading it willing to hear it, willing to grow, willing to acknowledge your experiences? That could happen. And that's why I think it's a great feedback principle. Like, I think every business should do exit interviews so you learn why are people leaving and how do we make it better for the next ones that come, and also how do we validate the person for the service they have made. But you have to write it in a manner with that with or without me energy of I'm moving somewhere else and I'm not here for your journey anymore kind of thing. Like, so if I write this and go through this process and find my sense of intrinsic value as I leave, I'm content if no one reads it, acknowledges me, learns from it. I'm going somewhere else. Like, that's the energy we need in it. But you might help them along in their journey. All right, third one. Where'd we go? Nope, that's cheating. We're looking at the next one. Come back. All right. Where is additional... Oops. Oh, man, I went hard on this. I forgot these questions. Where is additional deep processing necessary for you to recognize that it's, 100% their loss? Oh my gosh, it was so powerful to write that question when I wrote it. So a little bit of context. The journey you're experiencing has been unfolding over the last literally exactly 6 months. I exited on June 30th, 2024. It is December 31st, 2024. It's taken me 6 months to build the vision of the Big Brain Club, to create the How to Say Goodbye journey. But I think 4 days after I exited J&J, we took a mini vacation to Zushi Beach. Zushi Beach is like south of Tokyo, and we got an Airbnb. And like every day, I just like sat on my remarkable tablet and just started trying to like process. I went through my own deep processing of like, well, what's next? Because I didn't get the job that I thought I was going to get. How am I going to feed my family? What are we going to do? We have no return path. We moved into a new house, and we just needed to get away from that process for a little bit so I could get some clarity. And one of my first clients I got in brand management is the Pancake Princess. She stayed with us during all these transitions. I haven't been able to perfectly do her edits. I got one out. I'm meeting with her in a couple weeks. Like, she's still committed to partnering with what we're doing, which is awesome. She's fantastic. Look her up on YouTube and check out her Fakasha edit because I did it. That's your fun homework. But I remember telling her, like, hey, I didn't get that job that I thought I'd get at J&J, and I'm so excited to be working with you, because I had secured her as a client maybe 3 weeks before my exit. Her sister worked at J&J. We were close friends. So it was like friend to friend referral got me my first editing brand management gig. And I just remember her simply replying like 100% their loss. And it was so great to have the opportunity to work with her because she was in corporate for about a decade, I think 7 years. She was impacted by a layoff and went full time as a content creator doing these empirical bake offs where she cooks 9 recipes side by side. And then she has a blog that's monetized. So she was making, I think, around 10K a month on her blog. So she could afford life in New York solo. And we were trying to figure out how to unlock her YouTube channel. And like the crossover was just so exciting. But that one text of like 100% their loss was so life changing for me because I was still processing those feelings of being small, those feelings of not being enough for this role, or they had to shrink the role and they had to cut the benefits and they had to cut the pay, and I'm still not good enough, which isn't true. It's just circumstance and their mistake. So where are there areas in your life where you need to do additional deep processing? Go for a run, journal, talk with some friends, get that external feedback that you need outside of that circle for you to recognize it's 100% their loss. You have a sense of intrinsic value. Now go out and get your next, right? Like, that's what this whole experience is about, friends. Okay, that's all I got. Trust that this is a hard, good journey for you. I never promised easy, but I do think you can build the life you desire if you continue to press forward. All right, I'll let you go. Keep changing the world. Sip on that. I'm going to go be a dad. Much love, friends.